Bionicle Adventures 9 Web of Shadows. Written by Greg Farshidi. Recording by Trajan M. Origin of the Rahaga. From the Chronicles of Holly, as related by Rahaga Vakama. As we prepare to start our journey back to the city of Metronui, I cannot help but remember the Rahaga. I wonder if they are still in my homeland, or if they've moved on to continue their work elsewhere. Of all the beings I have encountered, they were among the wisest and bravest. And were it not for them, neither I, my fellow Rahaga, or the Matoran who walk Matanui today would be here. Rahaga Norik rarely wanted to talk about his past. Fortunately, Rahaga Iruni was not so close-mouthed. It was from him that Matau learned the Rahaga had once been Toa in another land. And not just any Toa. Clad in armor forged from precious metals, and wielding both Toa tools and Rotuka launchers, they were the elite. Each of the 6 wore Kanohi masks, forged in the shapes worn by the great heroes of the past. Their duty? Protect Makuta, he who was sworn to protect and defend all Matoran. They did their job nobly and well. Ironically, they were most often called to defend Makuta against Rahi attacks, for so powerful a being could not dirty his hands fighting beasts. Believing him to be a good and honorable servant of the will of Matanui, Norik and his Toa did not hesitate to aid him. Then came the day the light of truth dawned, and the Toa were confronted by a horrible reality. Makuta and the brotherhood to which he belonged were not protecting Matoran. They were oppressing and enslaving them. Even the very masks Norik and the others wore had been forged by Matoran working under threat of punishment, or worse. In addition, the Brotherhood of Makuta had allied itself with a foul mercenary band known as Dark Hunters. They converted the Exotoa mechanoids, first built as guardians of the Matoran, into sentries for their own fortresses. Burning for justice and revenge, the Toa mounted an attack on a Brotherhood base. Arrayed against them were Dark Hunters and Exotoa, prepared to sacrifice all in the service of their Dark Masters. Separated in the conflict, the Toa fell one by one, but not at the hands of these enemies. No, they were felled by treacherous attacks from the shadows by Rudaka. Finally, only Norik and Iruni remained. Cunning in their strategy and absolutely fearless in their actions, they succeeded in driving off the Dark Hunters and destroying most of the Exotoa. Makuta battled them to a stalemate until he too left the field, badly weakened. Now the 2 Toa had to find their companions. Find them they did. Shrunken, weakened, turned into monstrous mockeries of Rahaga. In what she no doubt regarded as a fine jest, Rudaka had mutated them, giving them the heads of Rakshi and twisted bodies that would frighten all who saw them. Creatures such as these, she believed, would be shunned by any Matoran they approached. Their days as heroes would be over. Relying on stealth, Norik and Iruni were able to rescue their friends. But they were discovered by Sidorak and Rudaka and struck by her mutation spinners. Strangely, she then allowed them to escape, perhaps convinced they would never prove a danger to her. 6 who had once been powerful Toa were now Rahaga. At first they were grief-stricken over the change, but Kualas and Norik rallied them. "Our bodies have been changed," said Kualas, "but not our hearts, not our spirits. No matter how we look, every breath we take as heroes in the service of Matanui." Norik gave them a new purpose: to find Kitongu, a mythical Rahi said to have the power to counteract any attack. Only he might have a hope of defeating Sidorak and Rudaka. Some, like Iruni, doubted that this being even existed. Still, they agreed to follow Norik's lead, knowing that unity was essential to the Rahaga's survival. From that day to this, the Rahaga have wandered from island to island, seeking Kitongu and studying the ways of the Rahi. Often their efforts have brought them into conflict with the Vizorak hordes, and many a beast has been saved from certain death by the Rahaga. Sidorak had vowed to destroy them, while Rudaka wondered whether there was some way to use them to further her own ends. At last, their journey brought the Rahaga to Metru Nui. Knowing the Vizorak must inevitably find their way to the City of Legends, they hid in the archives, observing with horror as their ancient enemy, Makuta, returned and rained destruction on the city. They saw the valiant efforts of the Toa Metru that led to his defeat, and they noted with dread that the heroes then left the city, leaving it defenseless before the Vizorak horde. By the time the Toa returned, the Vizorak were in control of Metru Nui. Worse, the Toa fell into a trap and were mutated into Toa Hordika. The Rahaga could wait no longer. Risking discovery by Sidorak, they rescued my friends and me. They armed us with the truth and gave us the will to fight on. Whether they wait for us still in Metru Nui or not, Hali, they deserve to be remembered as the greatest of Toa. End of Origin of the Rahaga, and end of book, Web of Shadows.